Hello, my audience. I'm reviewing 1925 movie Phantom of the Opera, the black and white silent picture, original on screen of the Phantom of the Opera adaptation. This is the original one leans more towards shark horror for old school picture. It's more of a different story of Phantom than the one you're used to by Andrew, written by the Broadway musical like by Andrew Weber. It's a very different story than the one that you're probably used to by the musical from the Broadway musical, Andrew Lloyd Webber one. This is a very different story and it's pretty cool. Um, Now, it is a silent movie, so there's no real music in the movie, like singing. So, or words, but it's like it tells like, but the characters are very expressive because they kind of need to be because it is a silent movie, so they're more expressive, have more exaggerated expressions what you would see for modern movie actors. But they were very overly expressed, I feel like, in the silent era because they had to be to show emotions and get the movie going and the audience invested. This is how my belief, okay? Why they're more expressive in the silent because they had to be more expressive to tell a story, I guess, to make the film come to life. This is how my belief is why they're more expressive in the silent eras than modern films. The cast of old movies versus newer movies now. I give The Phantom of the Opera 1925 a 10 out of 10 points as my final verdict. I really enjoy this representation of the Phantom and the story. And I like the redesign of the disfigured version of the Phantom for this movie, of his face. When his and I like how the mask covers his whole face, so it's like completely removed. You see a very monster-looking face, and even before he's revealed his scary face, he still comes across as a shady figure that's kind of freaky, almost like a shady monster figure, like very like a. Is how it comes across before you see his face, even how it's written in the plot and performed by this guy. I don't know who plays the Phantom in this movie. I didn't look at the cast names, but I like the cast in this movie. Solid cast, I think. Everyone did a good job playing their characters. Phantom dies at the end by the angry mob and trying to outrun the angry mob. And he can't outrun the angry mob that is trying to hunt him down and kill him. And so he dies. A fate. That kind of fate. To be fair, he is kind of a shithead written more as than Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom. Like more of a monster he's written as in this movie, so it's kind of fitting that they killed him off for this kind of character. How he's written in the original 20s flick and performed by the actor. This Phantom is definitely more monster than future implementations of the Phantom that were brought to the screen in later in life, or small screen in later life. I will say the only downside of this movie, how this Phantom's not as has as much depth as Lloyd Webber's Phantom or even the other Phantoms before Lloyd Webber got a big screen adaptation with Gerard Butler. Like, even Robert Englund's Phantom, I feel like he had more depth of other than just being the monster of a character. Like, true, that movie had a very like lots of shock horror, gruesome fatalities in the movie. I'm not saying that Phantom was a good guy. I'm saying that Phantom was more humanely complex of a character, written wise. Because yeah, he made a deal with the devil, but he wanted to be remembered for his music, not knowing that there was going to be a catch. He was going to lose his looks. But he probably should have known better. That was foolish of him, though. But I think we can agree on that on the Robert Englund version of the Phantom. That was a foolish move, not thinking that it was going to backfire of any way. This deal with the devil, you know. He was willing to sell his soul, but didn't know he was going to lose his looks and be disfigured. You almost feel sorry for him, but there's only like a little amount you can feel sorry for him because, you know, who would have think that the devil would do something, you know, usually, you know, when you hear stories of all the devils, usually, like, I mean, usually when devils, I mean, you know, it's like, sounds like red flags, you know? Stuff like that, saying, would you sell your soul, give away your soul to be remembered for your music? But that, and be loved for your music, that's the only thing that they'll remember you for, and you know you for. Because you will only be loved for your music, and he loses his, like, normal looking human face and gets to that monster, disfigured, burned face victim looking, disfigured face he has. He wears the Phantom in that Robert Englund representation wore a mask out of flesh skin, of human skin parts. Yeah, which was pretty gruesome. And when you see him sewing it and you replace the new parts with one part up close. I really love that movie. I like that. I just think what I'm trying to say is for the 1920s Phantom, it is a product of its time, so it does show its age with his writing and visuals. But I do respect it of it being the first of its kind with the adaptation of the Phantom, of the opera character. So I respect what they tried to do with the character. I'm guessing what I'm trying to say is I wish the character had more layers other than just be like a straight up monster of a character. Kind of like a Frankenstein's monster. I wish he would be more like, or Dr. Frankenstein, who created the monster. I wish he had more layers of those kind of monsters in the 1920s Phantom movie. Which I feel like future installments did a better job bringing layers to the character other than just being a monster for to be scared of on the big screen. But, you know, it is a product of its time. 1920s were never really a focus on complex characters for cinema. It was kind of like the first generation of cinema, that my understanding. So, they're just experimenting with what they can show on screen, you know? Is how I see it. And yet, I love this movie still, despite its flaws. It's a classic of mine. I think why give it a 10 out of 10 for those reasons. 10 points out of 10 this movie, guys. I approve. This movie. The Phantom of the Opera 1925 is a classic in my eye. Worth seeing again. And more than once for me. I love this movie a lot. This version is fun and spooky. It feels like a good Halloween movie for an old Halloween movie to play for Halloween if you ever want to be a spook with the lights off. You want to watch old school horror flick. Wouldn't be a bad monster flick for old school of his time. I love this movie and respect this hell out of this movie. £10 out of 10. Goodbye. Subscribe. Like this video. Bye, my audience. See you in my next video.